Rehab, welcome back to the channel. Dr. Craig here, and today, Dr. Dorian and I are excited to chat with you about Achilles tendinopathy.
Some exciting new research has surfaced on how to best treat that deep, sharp pain in your Achilles tendon associated with Achilles tendinopathy. So if you're physically limited due to Achilles tendon pain, you need to learn this.
So let's get into it. We will discuss what Achilles tendinopathy is, exercises to do, and more importantly, why you need to be doing them. What is Achilles tendinopathy? An Achilles tendinopathy is defined as pain and dysfunction in the Achilles tendon structure. The most common symptoms associated with Achilles tendinopathy are pain with walking and engaging in any activities that cause a rapid increase in load to the tendon through repetitive plantar flexion, aka our heels lifting up. Common activities that we see Achilles tendinopathy develop in include running, hopping, and jumping. There are two common pain sites. If we have symptoms at the heel, this is called insertional Achilles tendinopathy. But if we have pain anywhere from 2 to 8 millimeters above the heel, we consider this midportion tendinopathy. These are important to differentiate when choosing the right exercises. Why do we get Achilles tendinopathy? Tendinopathy is associated with overuse in and around tendons and originates from loading errors. For the average person, this can mean a spike in mileage, weekly volume, an increase in intensity or speed, and this can cause either acute or chronic symptoms. Acute tendinopathy, often referred to as an inflamed tendon, is a failed healing response following load and stress. Reactive or acute tendinopathy is characterized by water infiltration into the tendon matrix, making it difficult to deliver nutrients to the tendon collagen. Acute Achilles tendinopathy is a classic example of going for a 5-mile run out of the blue and then waking up the next morning with your Achilles tendon feeling red hot and angry at you, and you telling your friends, I got an inflamed tendon.
On the flip side, chronic or recurrent tendinopathy is characterized by degeneration of the tendon collagen along with nerve growth into the tendon, causing increased sensitivity to stress and load. This kind of tendinopathy is a classic example of what we hear and see on SportsCenter, with the professional athlete dealing with a chronic injury that leads to load management. So, how do you get better from Achilles tendinopathy? In all stages and phases of tendinopathy, but especially in the early phase, we want to focus on load management. That is, building the capacity of both the tendon and the muscle without causing an exacerbation to the pathology or the pain. So let's jump into these early phase exercises that can help move the needle forward in regards to pain and function.
Early phase exercises, a gold mine of an exercise and one that is a staple in our Achilles rehab program, is the heel raise isometric. Why isometrics? Well, they play a role in both early load tolerance of the tendon, and also they serve as an analgesic effect as well, meaning pain relieving. With that being said, we want to do our isometrics appropriately. Aiming for 4 to 5 reps, a 30 to 45 second holds is a dosage you will need to optimize that analgesic effect. It's also important to note here as well that Dorian is moving his body straight up instead of leaning forward. That's the best way to target that Achilles tendon complex. The repetition also needs to be challenging in order to be effective. This is to say that towards the end of the hold, we need to experience a 7 or 8 out of 10 exertion. You want to feel that burn and fatigue. In other words, we should not be able to hold another 5 seconds. In this scenario, if it's getting too easy, we may want to use accommodating weight or resistance, such as a dumbbell in the hands if needed to make the exercise harder. For insertional tendinopathy, we want to avoid tendon compression, which occurs at the bottom of the heel drop position. To keep things simple, when the muscle and connecting tendon are stretched, it creates compression. And insertional tendinopathy won't like this. Therefore, we want to avoid isometrics at the bottom of the heel drop position. Instead, we want to focus on a mid-range position. But for mid-portion tendinopathy, we are not as concerned about compression due to the location of the issue. So we can challenge deeper range of motion and mobility, sinking into that deeper position past parallel. Moving on to mid-phase Achilles tendinopathy rehab. Before you jump into these exercises, you want to make sure you are having a positive response that includes pain relief with the isometric exercises in the early phase. If you are having morning Achilles pain, but it is now quick to subside, and you're only experiencing minimal symptoms with your normal daily activities, you are now ready to move forward. In this phase, we will focus on progressive resistance exercise, specifically with heavy loads and slow tempo. The goal is we're working at an intensity of at least 70% of our 1 rep max. To keep this math simple, pick a weight that you can do for about 12 reps with a tempo of 3 seconds in the concentric or ascending phase and 3 seconds in the descending phase or the lowering phase, and you only have a few reps left in the tank if you were to go until failure. Another rule of thumb is you would lose proper form and technique if you went beyond 12 reps. So focus on that when picking out the weights and parameters for this exercise. Let's touch on points of performance with this exercise that Dorian is demonstrating. We can experiment with holding the dumbbell on the working side or the opposite side. I want you to pick a variation that creates the activation and the work in the calf that you are looking for, and clearly we want to feel the most amount of work. We also want to be mindful of not bouncing at the bottom of the heel raise, as this will cause increased stress to the tendon. Remember, with insertional tendinopathy, we want to avoid that deep heel drop position and focus more on mid-range motion. Parameters wise, try to do 3 to 4 sets of 12 reps 3 times a week for optimal results, and don't be afraid to increase the weight as you get stronger. During this phase, it is okay to experience some symptoms within 24 hours, but we really don't want any more than mild pain, roughly a 3 to 4 on a 10-point scale. We can remain in this period for almost 3 months, but I want you to be increasing the weight while decreasing volume each week. For instance, we can go from a 12 rep max to a 10 rep max to a 6 rep max. As we keep getting stronger, we're going to get some positive adaptations to the tendon as well as the collagen, and this is what you need to really improve Achilles tendinopathy. Moving on to late phase Achilles tendinopathy rehab. We can feel comfortable moving into this phase once we have achieved equal strength symmetry. Let's say 90 to 100% symmetry for a 6 or 8 or 10 rep max of heel raises based on the last phase. In this phase, we're focusing on a specific type of power, speed, strength, as well as elasticity, which is essential for the common activities we mentioned in the beginning of this video. For this phase, we want to use a lower weight or load than what we used in the mid-phase strength training, but the emphasis will be on speed and rate of force development, moving as fast as possible. An effective exercise for power training is a front foot elevated heel raise. We can use our previously determined rep max resistance to find the appropriate load here. Our intention is to move fast and strong. The front foot elevation will help us hold our balance at the top. The biggest thing to focus on with this exercise is keep your weight back on that working leg to really emphasize challenging that Achilles tendon complex. After 2 weeks of power training, along with continued slow tempo strength training, which is ideally done 2 times to 3 times a week, we can introduce elastic training. Here, we're focused on speed and strength, but in a repetitive and ballistic manner. Our go-to exercise is pogos, staying on your tiptoes, keeping those heels floating, and just going. We can perform these double leg, we can perform these staggered stance, we can do this with either the front foot or the rear foot elevated. There are a ton of different options. You can even do this single leg if you wanted to, and that's ultimately what we're gonna want to work towards. We can choose the variation based on our ability to stay elastic or springing. Using a metronome, we can begin with a specific tempo at 100 beats per minute, or ideally even working up to 150 beats per minute. Points of performance to focus on with this exercise are going to be keep your heels floating, maintain rhythm, and maintain stiffness. You want to feel like you're on a pogo stick. They're called pogos for a reason. Stay springy. Dorian is doing a great job of this. He can do it to the tempo, and you can really appreciate here's how we can develop power and ballistic type energy. Try and do these exercises 2 to 3 sets. Start with 20 seconds. Try to work up to like 30 seconds if you can, and then your Achilles tendon should be ready to roll. All right, let's recap.
Tendinopathy is defined as a failed healing response to stress with both a reactive and degenerative pathological process at the tendon. It's caused by loading errors, doing too much too soon.
The early phase of pain and function is handled best with load management. We also want to use isometrics to improve tolerance to loading and create an analgesic effect, getting that pain down.
And the mid phase includes progressive strength training to build symmetry between limbs, as well as introduce positive adaptations to that tendon collagen.
Last but not least, we want to focus on power training, elastic training, and working back towards our activities, including sport, with that late phase. Thanks for joining today. Hope you enjoyed the video with myself and Dr. Dorian. If you have any feedback, you got any thoughts or questions, let us know. We're gonna experiment with more videos like this. Okay, until next time, see ya.
Hey, did you like this video? If you did, you should definitely check out the Prehab app. It includes all of our programs, a brand new workout library, and tons more videos like the one you saw today. Check it out by clicking on this link. You get a free trial. Take control of your health today.